Okay, so let's think about this. What happens when the very systems we trust, the legal ones meant to protect us, actually turn against someone, especially someone who was basically just trying to do the right thing?
Yeah, and not just anyone, right?
Yeah.
But someone with this incredibly strong character.
Exactly. Like real integrity and this commitment to being totally open, radically transparent makes you wonder, when things get messy, when ethical action looks like a crime to some people, how does that kind of character actually shape what happens?
Not just for them, but for everyone else watching, too. It's a fascinating question.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take, well, stacks of interesting stuff, research, stories, you name it, and really try to pull out the key insights for you, help you get informed, maybe spark some thinking.
Get those aha moments going.
Today, we are really digging into the incredible and honestly pretty harrowing journey of Alberto Daniel Hill. His name, especially down in Uruguay, it's become linked with cybersecurity, with justice.
And resilience. A really uncommon kind of resilience.
Right. So, okay, let's unpack this. Our mission here isn't just to tell his story like, event A led to event B. We want to go deeper.
Yeah, we want to understand how all these pieces fit together, his values, his integrity.
His reputation, which he really had to fight for, and this idea of radical transparency. How did all that combine to make him this, well, extraordinary advocate?
Well, crucially, how did those things make his reaction, his whole journey, so different from what maybe an average person might have done or experienced in the same boat?
Exactly. That comparison point is key. We're using sources like Alberto Daniel Hill, Pionero de la Cibernética in Uruguay, and Justicia, Ignorancia y Libertad Digital. They give us a really rich picture.
A vivid picture, definitely.
Now, you might be listening and thinking, okay, cybersecurity story. And yeah, it's definitely got roots there, deep roots.
But it's so much more than just tech, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's about courage, pure and simple.
Yeah.
Sticking to your guns when everything's pushing back. And it's about turning something awful, like real adversity, into purpose.
Which has lessons for all of us, right? Not just tech people.
For sure. It's about what you can learn from someone who faced down this, abyss of injustice, dealt with a system that just didn't get his world, and came out not just okay, but stronger, determined.
Yeah, it teaches a lot about navigating complex systems. Legal, professional, even personal ones sometimes.
Definitely. So let's dive in. Let's set the stage for this inciting incident, the moment that really threw Alberto Daniel Hill into this whole complicated mess.
It all kicked off back in February 2017, wasn't it?
Yeah. A medical provider in Uruguay got hit with a pretty major data breach, and we're not talking small stuff here.
No, this was serious. Patient records compromised. Sensitive stuff.
And then on top of that, extortion threats. Pay up or we release the data. A real nightmare scenario.
A genuine digital emergency. It needed expert eyes fast.
And this is where it gets really interesting, like you said earlier. Alberto Daniel Hill wasn't just some bystander.
No, he was already in the field. A cybersecurity pro.
Right, computer engineering background, the works. Basically an ethical hacker. Keyword there being ethical.
His whole deal wasn't about breaking in for gain. It was about understanding systems to protect them. Finding the weaknesses before the bad guys do.
Exactly. So when he found vulnerabilities connected to this specific breach, what did he do? He did the textbook ethical thing.
He reported them responsibly to the authorities.
Right. This wasn't malice. It wasn't trying to exploit anything. It was civic duty. It was trying to help fix the problem and keep that sensitive data safe. Exactly what you'd hope an expert would do.
Which makes what happened next just staggering.
Tell me about it.
Well, what's truly fascinating and honestly pretty depressing is the massive disconnect that happened right after he did the right thing.
Instead of a thank you or even just, let's hear what you found.
He got accused of being the one behind the hack he was trying to help stop.
It's unbelievable. Talk about a mismatch between expectation and reality. You'd think in any sensible system, reporting a flaw would get you listened to, maybe even commended.
At the very least.
Yeah.
Or maybe ignored. Worst case scenario in a normal world. But certainly not treated like a criminal for doing your job ethically. That's not the average expectation, is it?
Not even close.
And the whole thing was made worse because there wasn't any real solid evidence linking him to the actual breach.
Like IP logs or digital fingerprints.
Exactly. None of that. Instead, the prosecution, who, let's be honest, didn't seem to grasp the tech side of things. They latched onto the fact that he had hacking tools on his devices, tools that any ethical hacker needs to do their job, for testing, analysis, finding those weaknesses.
But they saw them as, what, smoking guns?
Pretty much. They treated them as inherently incriminating. It's like Hill himself said later, it's confusing a surgeon's scalpel with the weapon used in an attack.
Wow. Yeah, that's a powerful analogy. The tools for protection seen as tools for destruction, because they didn't understand the context.
Which brings us right to the absolute core of the problem. This massive gap in technical literacy within the Uruguayan judicial system back then.
Yeah, you mentioned Hill's quote.
Right. He said, and this is just startling, the judge and prosecutor hardly know what an IP address was.
Stop right there. Just think about that. A court dealing with complex cybercrime and the fundamental building blocks of the internet are basically foreign concepts.
It meant his expertise, the very thing that made him qualified to help, wasn't seen as valuable. It was seen as suspicious. It was twisted against him.
So his professional skill actually became a liability.
Completely. And that's such a stark contrast to how things should work or how they ideally work in a more technically savvy justice system, where that expertise would be key to differentiating between reporting a flaw and committing a crime.
Right. An average professional in that situation would expect their knowledge to be an asset, not the thing that sends them to prison. It really underscores how uniquely awful his situation was.
Yeah.
And the consequences were immediate and just devastating. Alberto Daniel Hill, this ethical hacker trying to help, was arrested.
And not just arrested and released, he was held.
8 months, 8 long months in a maximum security prison. Can you even imagine?
Yeah.
The shock, the sheer injustice of it.
The sources really paint a picture of how deeply it affected him. Not just an inconvenience, it tore his life apart, every aspect.
Yeah, profoundly impacted every facet of his life, is how one account put it. Just brutal.
But this is where you start to see that unaverage character really come through.
Right. Because even under all that pressure, facing a long sentence, maybe even offers for, coerced confession.
He didn't budge. He absolutely refused to compromise, stood firm, innocent, ethical. That was his line.
And let's pause on that, because think about the average person, right? Facing that kind of fear, an unfamiliar legal system, the sheer weight of it all.
The temptation to just make it stop, to agree to something, anything, for a quicker way out, it must have been immense.
Absolutely. Many people might have compromised. But Hill's refusal, that was pure principle, not strategy, just this is who I am, this is what I did, and I won't lie about it.
An incredibly powerful early sign of those unwavering values we talked about. A real departure from a pragmatic self-preservation response.
And it wasn't over quickly either. This wasn't some misunderstanding cleared up in a week.
No, it was a slog. 4 years. It took 4 whole years for him to finally be cleared of everything.
4 years. That just highlights the systemic battle he was fighting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't just one mistaken prosecutor. It was a system that was fundamentally unprepared for the digital age.
And his eventual victory, while obviously crucial, came at an enormous personal and professional cost. But the fact he did prevail speaks volumes about his resolve, his sheer tenacity.
It really does.
And if we zoom out a bit, connect this back to the bigger picture, his actions, both in reporting the vulnerability and his conduct during the trial, weren't just random reactions.
No, you said they were rooted in something deeper.
Exactly. Rooted in this deep-seated commitment to ethical responsibility in hacking. That idea of responsible disclosure, finding a flaw, telling the organization privately, giving them time to fix it.
That wasn't just a technical best practice for him.
For Hill, it felt more like a moral imperative, a duty. Protect the systems, fix the holes before they're exploited maliciously. It's about safeguarding the common good online, not just ticking a box.
That's a really important distinction. It's not just about skill, it's about the intent behind using that skill.
Precisely. And you see that integrity play out so clearly during the trial. Refusing to compromise, even facing years in prison. That wasn't about calculating odds.
It was a principled stand, full stop.
Now think about the average cybersecurity pro after going through something like that. Prison time, reputation damaged, the sheer trauma.
You'd understand if they just wanted to disappear, right? Go low profile, maybe even leave the field, prioritize safety, anonymity, avoid any more trouble.
Totally understandable. But Hill, he did the exact opposite. He didn't retreat, he doubled down. He took that injustice, that trauma, and used it as fuel.
Fuel for his advocacy.
Yes, which is just profoundly different from what you might expect. It shows a level of moral courage, a commitment to principle that's really quite rare, far from the average response.
So, okay, he survives this nightmare, but he doesn't just survive, right? He transforms.
That's the key word, transformation. His life after prison wasn't about trying to forget. It wasn't about just moving on.
He made a choice, a conscious choice.
A defiant choice, almost, to channel that pain, that anger, that sense of injustice into something productive, into creativity, into purpose.
Which, again, is so different from how most people might process that kind of trauma. Bitterness, fear, withdrawal, those seem like more common reactions.
Absolutely. But Hill chose to speak out, to create, to educate, to advocate. He turned his personal hell into a platform.
And you see it in everything he did afterwards, writing books like Log Into Hell.
Turning his own story into a lesson for others. A warning, maybe?
Hosting podcasts like Cyber Midnight Club, becoming this really strong voice in the community that misunderstood him so badly at first.
Yeah, reclaiming his place, but on his own terms. And speaking out on really important current stuff, hacker culture, blockchain, AI ethics.
Showing he's still at the forefront and even branching out, right? Project management and NFTs, crypto. It shows incredible versatility.
It really does. It's like his career wasn't stopped by the trauma. It was sort of redirected, turbocharged by this new sense of purpose. Built on his skills, yes, but also on this incredible reinvention after everything he went through.
It's genuinely remarkable. It's like turning poison into medicine.
A powerful way to put it.
And you can point to concrete things, right? Objective examples of his principled stance.
Oh, definitely. His advocacy for better cybersecurity laws isn't abstract. It comes directly from his lived experience.
And pushing for tech education for police and prosecutors. That's not just a policy paper idea for him.
It's personal. He knows firsthand the damage ignorance can cause. His writing, his podcasts, they consistently point out systemic weaknesses, but always with this push for transparency, for a smarter way of dealing with vulnerability.
He's not just tearing things down, he's trying to build something better.
Exactly. Not for revenge, but for progress, for justice. Which, again, you compare that to someone who might justifiably want to withdraw after such an ordeal.
Yeah, his very public, very active advocacy is it's a testament to that unique resilience, that commitment to something bigger than himself, way beyond average.
And people notice that. His integrity isn't just something we're discussing, it's widely recognized.
The public perception is really positive, isn't it? Despite everything.
Overwhelmingly so.
Yeah.
You look at places like X, Reddit, people see him as this figure of high integrity. Wrongfully accused, yes, but someone who came through it stronger, fighting for others now.
And he's had support from unexpected places too, right? Like Nicole Eggert publicly backing him.
Yeah, his story resonated widely. And within the cybersecurity community itself, among his peers, there's huge respect.
They see the ethics.
They see the unwavering ethics, absolutely. They see how he took personal suffering and turned it into something positive for the whole field, for society even.
Yeah.
He's not just seen as a survivor, he's seen as a leader, a moral compass.
That kind of trust earned through fire like that.
Yeah.
It's not typical. It really speaks to his unique character.
Absolutely. It's hard-won and deeply felt.
Okay, let's shift slightly to another really key trait you mentioned. Radical transparency. This feels really central to understanding him.
It absolutely is.
Because in cybersecurity, anonymity, code names, a certain level of secrecy, that's often the norm, right? For good reasons sometimes.
Understandably so, given the nature of the work.
But Hill's approach is just completely different, almost bravely so, this radical transparency. What does it actually look like for him?
It means he doesn't hide the ugly parts. He talks openly about the prison trauma, the details of the legal fight, the emotional cost. He puts it all out there.
Which is so counterintuitive, isn't it? Most people, after suffering like that, you'd expect them to guard that pain, keep it private, rebuild quietly.
The instinct is often self-protection through privacy. But Hill chooses vulnerability. He makes the raw truth public.
That takes incredible courage and a belief, maybe, that the truth itself has power.
I think so. And this genuineness, this willingness to show the flaws, the scars, while still fighting so hard for what's right, it creates this incredible level of trust.
Unparalleled trust, you called it.
Yeah, because people connect with that honesty. They see a real person, not some polished image. They see someone who's been through hell and is willing to talk about it truthfully.
Like with his podcasts. It's not just tech talk.
No, he creates this space where people feel safe to be honest, to share experiences. It builds real connections.
It's the opposite of the curated, perfect image we often see from public figures. They think showing weakness is, well, weak.
Right. But for Hill, the vulnerability is the strength. It makes him relatable, credible. It builds a deeper kind of trust than just respect for expertise. In a world full of online masks, his openness is powerful.
Again, a very unaverage way to build influence, wouldn't you say?
Definitely. It's authentic in a way that really cuts through.
And the impact of this transparency, it's not just personal, is it? It actually has wider effects.
Huge effects. His honesty didn't just help him rebuild his life, it genuinely sparked calls for reform globally.
That's amazing. So his vulnerability actually became a tool for change.
Absolutely. It proved that being open, even about painful things, can break down fear and ignorance, especially in these big, slow-moving systems like the courts.
And you see that impact specifically in Latin America.
Yeah, he's seen as a real catalyst there, pushing for more tech-savvy justice, fairer handling of cyber cases, and then there was the Darknet Diaries feature.
Oh, right. That reached a massive audience.
Millions. And the feedback was incredible. People calling him a hero, saying he completely changed how they saw hackers. Moving beyond the stereotype.
From malicious outsiders to, well, potentially ethical experts.
Exactly, and that shift in perception is huge. Without that radical transparency, his story might have just been a personal tragedy. His willingness to share made it universal.
A call for justice, for understanding, using personal pain for global good, that's extraordinary.
It truly is. It sets him apart in a fundamental way.
Let's talk about his reputation more broadly now. You mentioned he's seen as a trailblazer, a survivor.
Yeah, within the cybersecurity world, he's deeply respected, not just for his tech skills, which are significant.
We'll get to those credentials.
Right. But it's more than that. It's reverence for his courage in exposing flaws in the legal system, for starting these vital conversations about ethics and hacking.
So it's the moral courage component, again, elevating his reputation beyond just technical expertise.
Precisely. Many experts have skills. Few have fought such a public battle for principles, and one, then used that platform for broader change. He's seen as a pioneer in that sense.
And his online presence reflects that. You mentioned Twitter.
Yeah, over 47,000 followers. And the engagement is really positive. People see him as authentic, influential, a leader in the conversation, not just a participant.
So the general perception is overwhelmingly positive now. The resilience narrative won out.
It seems so. He took what could have been a career-ending, silencing event, that chilling effect on ethical hackers, and turned it into a rallying cry for reform.
And his peers, how do they see him?
They see the fighter, the digital rebel, as some call him, someone fighting for justice in this new domain.
Yeah.
And yeah, they acknowledge the objective proof of his expertise too, things like his PMP, his CSX certifications. Those are serious credentials.
So it's the combination, proven skills plus proven moral courage.
That's the unique package. That's what makes his reputation so distinct from, say, your average highly skilled, but perhaps less publicly tested expert.
Okay, let's peel back one more layer. The personality, the psychology behind the person. This feels key to understanding that unaverage response.
It really does. Psychologically, you see traits of post-traumatic growth, not just survival, but growth.
Meaning the trauma didn't just damage him, it somehow forged him.
In a way, yes. The isolation, the misunderstanding in prison, that was undeniably traumatic. But instead of being defined solely by the victimhood of it, he channeled that energy outwards into creativity, to purpose.
Which, as we've said, is not the typical path. Many struggle with long-term distress, maybe withdraw.
Exactly. His path involved transforming the suffering into a driving force. That requires a particular kind of psychological resilience.
And his public persona definitely reflects a certain defiance.
Oh, absolutely. And he embraces it. That resident degenerate bio isn't shame. It's reclaiming identity. It's a challenge.
Like the hacker anthems he shares, Bella Ciao hacktivist. It's not subtle.
Not at all. It's a clear, almost playful critique of the systems he battled. He uses humor, satire, music, video. It's a very creative, very outspoken form of resistance.
Combining defiance with creativity.
Yeah, which is a powerful combination. And that resilience, it comes through in things he's shared, like quoting fellow prisoners about fighting unwinnable battles to preserve one's soul.
Wow, that suggests some deep reflection during that time.
It really does. A mindset that the fight itself, the act of standing for your principles, has inherent value, maybe even more than the immediate outcome, especially when your integrity's on the line.
That's a profound insight to gain from such a dark experience. Definitely not average.
No. And the community perception reflects this complexity. Passionate, maybe chaotic sometimes, but always principled.
That Mr. Robot meets the Matrix vibe you mentioned.
Yeah, intelligent, rebellious, but with this deep commitment to freedom underneath it all. Digital freedom especially.
So his personality, even the parts that might seem unconventional or chaotic, actually become strengths. They make him relatable, authentic.
I think so. He turns perceived flaws into part of his power. It's a psychological profile shaped by extreme adversity but resulting in remarkable strength and influence. Very far from the average profile.
It really feels like it all comes together there. The values, the transparency, the personality forged in fire.
And it connects, interestingly, back to something deeply rooted in Uruguay itself.
The national anthem.
Exactly. His fight against injustice born from ignorance. It echoes that spirit in Libertad o con gloria morir. Liberty or with glory to die.
Wow. So it's like a modern expression of that same core value.
That's the question it raises, isn't it?
Yeah.
That spirit, once about physical battles, maybe today it fuels these battles of principle. The ethical technologist fighting against fear, against ignorance.
A battle where knowledge shouldn't be punished, but valued.
Precisely. And this is where Hill's journey is so distinct. Many talk about liberty. He lived out a very specific, modern fight for it, dedicating his life now to ensuring understanding, not ignorance, secures digital liberty for everyone.
Making sure ignorance doesn't get to be the judge again.
That's the hope. That's the fight.
So as we wrap this up, Alberto Daniel Hill's story. It's just an incredibly powerful example, isn't it? How those core elements, values, integrity, that radical transparency can really forge someone into a force for change after facing immense adversity.
Yeah, his refusal to compromise his principles, even when it would have been easier, even when the system didn't understand him. It shows the impact one person can have.
He really set himself apart from any kind of average response. He redefined resilience in a way, forging purpose out of pain.
Offering a potent lesson in living a principled, authentic life, no matter the cost.
Okay, so final thought for everyone listening, something to maybe chew on.
Well, in this world that's just speeding faster and faster into digital complexity, where that gap between the tech reality and how the law understands it can be huge. Dangerously huge.
Yeah.
What's our responsibility in bridging that gap?
Yeah.
As individuals, as communities, as people designing and running these systems?
How do we make sure expertise is actually understood, not just dismissed or feared?
How do we make transparency something that's rewarded, not punished? And maybe most importantly, how do we make absolutely sure that ignorance never again gets to sit on the judge's bench?
Especially when liberty itself, digital and otherwise, is what's truly at stake.
Exactly. Something to think about.